to snap it, and it's Trey Burton who throws caught. Foles, touchdown.
Here he goes. It's Hester inside the 30. Hester's going to take it all the way for a touchdown.
Fields stumbling, trying to cut it back. Justin Fields making magic happen. There goes Fields. Touchdown!
Hurts on first down, fires downfield. It's Deshaun Jackson back in the lineup. Missed the last 7 games, and he will take it 81 yards. A somersault into the end zone. His first touchdown of the season.
You're listening to The Pigskin Project, the world's #1 football podcast. Now, with more insights on all things football, here are your hosts, Ben Hansen and Ryan Matthews.
Wow, look at that throw from Hurts in the intro, right? Ladies and gentlemen,
Wow.
this is going to be a huge show. We're going to be talking about a lot. I mean, the playoffs just started off. This could be probably one of the most disappointing starts to a playoff, I think, in recent memory, just because there was literally only one competitive game.
There was only one game that was close.
Oh my God, it was insane. But I mean, it was just so much fun. Was that from his rookie year? To be honest with you, yeah, there you go. There's your answer.
He was wearing number 2, so it would have been his rookie year. That's correct.
So the way that we're gonna go about doing this, I want to do this as soon as possible. I'm sure everybody wants.
I think we should get it through.
Everything.
I think we need to tease the people a little bit, and I think we need to get through at least weekly recap, and then we can.
That's
get
what I'm
into
gonna
it,
say. Yeah, let's go ahead and get right into weekly news, and then we'll be right into the whole argument portion that everybody's waiting for.
Ryan and Ben bring you weekly news.
All right, so I only have 3 main parts or points to make for this.
Oh, I want to talk about the Eagles too a little bit before we go.
You get the last point. You get the floor for everything.
Yeah.
Patriots fire Bill Belichick after 24 years, which makes it interesting because, and we're not going to cover every head coaching hire / anything.
Well, hire once it comes around, but there's so much going on.
Yes, yeah. But Bill Belichick was interviewed by the Falcons just as Jim Harbaugh was. Jim Harbaugh out here completing interviews. It's very interesting.
The rumor right now with that, man, is that it's more likely that he's not coming back than he is coming back. I'm not too worried about it. Again, he won his chip. He was at the pinnacle of his sport. I would love for him to come back, but I already accepted that he wasn't. So maybe the Eagles.
Kalen, yeah, even more of a reason why the Bears are just boneheads. Kalen DeBoer is the new head coach at Alabama. So this is huge. Just a quick review as well, just because we've got a couple comments rolling in. The Packers absolutely ran the table against the Cowboys. Kyle Gagliardi from last week, if anybody else was watching, comes in saying Pack is back. Yeah, and if they win this week, I'm picking them to go to the Super Bowl.
Let's just say I was the only one on the episode last week that picked them to win.
You were, yes. So yeah, that's huge. Let's see. The Lions beat the Rams. We've got the Eagles, unfortunately, losing to the Buccaneers. And then just as well, the Browns lost to the Texans. So CJ Stroud is that guy. I did not sprinkle the money line. I actually bet against the Packers, Kyle. So there's that. I bet, dude, it's crazy. Yeah, I don't know. But anyways, Dolphins lost to the Chiefs as well. Ben, you were the only one to get one game wrong in our predictions, so congratulations to you. Nonetheless, there's one last point that we got to get to for weekly news, and I know you need the floor for this one. Absolutely.
Well, yeah, so but real quick before we even get into that, you touched on Nick Saban and the Kellen DeBoer stuff. I feel so bad for if you're a Bama fan, dude. Bama has now at this point, and this is as of today, which the list is probably going to grow even more. Whenever a head coaching head coach leaves, there's I think it's like a 30-day window, or I'm pretty sure it's a 30-day window where commits, signees, and players already in the thing can transfer. And they have now lost 16 players to transfer or to the portal. Isaiah Bond being one of their better wide receivers, gone. The number one left tackle the number one tackle recruit in the country from just a year ago, gone. But the most important one, man, being their safety. I mean, Caleb Downs, one of the better safeties in America. He's a freshman this year. He was a freshman All-American. He's amazing. He's going to go somewhere and he's going to start right away. He's a starting caliber safety right now. He'd be going in the first round if he could come out. Obviously, he can't because he's a freshman. But, Alabama is absolutely just getting hit with players transferring out. Yeah. It's going to be a real interesting year to see what they end up doing because as of right now, it looks like Kirby Smart's going to be running the SEC for the next 3 years.
Absolutely. Buddy, the floor is all yours, man. I'm so sorry about what's going on.
Yeah, we'll get into it. The Eagles had an absolute historic collapse. This is awful. They're going to be the first 10-1 team in the history. Well, they are the first 10-1 team in the history of the NFL to not win 12 games in a season, and it is absolutely wild. The question why, you might ask, and I'm sure Ryan will have his answer as to why this is true, is absolutely the worst offensive scheme I have ever seen in my entire life. The Eagles now have ranked in the entire season the lowest in motion percentage at just over 9. So they're at 10. They barely snuck into the double digits in the motion percentage. And in yesterday's game alone, they threw 13 screens. You're running a zero. For those who don't know what a zero is, a zero in the NFL, meaning you have no extra coverage. A zero is just going to be straight on straight man across the board. And then everyone else is coming back. Todd Bowles ran that probably 100 times in this game. And Brian Johnson, not once, threw a crosser over the middle of the field. I'm sure that I was planning on showing this picture anyways, and not to show my entire script here. I'll share my screen. And again, I'm going to save this for a little bit later because I'm sure Ryan wanted to get into it. But again, this was absolutely one of the worst offensive schemes I have ever seen. Like I said, so when you're running a zero in the NFL, you're manned up here on the outside with your guys covering man-on-man with your wide receivers, and then everyone else is gone. Right now, it looks like Levante David was going to be the spy. That's what they've been doing the whole time. So they're matched up one-on-one here. But like I said, what is route concept? These two guys are running maybe 2 yards away from each other, and they're both running fades and streaks down the center of the field or down the outside of the field with no one running the center. Let's be honest. He cuts over because his flips are already gone facing the sideline. Devontae Smith cuts into the center of the field. He's gone for a touchdown. And again, this is absolutely no shot to Matt. Matt's one of the smartest football guys I have ever met. I texted Matt and he proved my point even more. I said, if you are an OC, what are you doing in this situation? And he said, put him in motion and run something across the top of the field. Again, this is no shot to Matt. A very, very smart football mind. If Matt and I and Ryan can identify this, why can offensive coordinators in the NFL not identify that? That it's the biggest load of BS I've ever seen. I want Nick gone. The guys in the locker room absolutely love Nick, but I want someone that can actually create an offensive scheme that doesn't consist of throwing 13 screens in a game and throwing a screen to your running back, your running back number 2, not even your running back number 1, with no blockers. I mean, if I could pull up the video right now, which I can't because I'm not logged into Twitter on my computer, there was at one point in the game where they threw a swing pass / screen to Kenny Gainwell with not a blocker down the field to help him. I like Bears fans want to talk about how bad Luke is. This is worse than Luke. It actually baffles me as a dude who finished, I'm pretty sure it was second and down the field efficiency last year, and you're running screens. I don't know what is going on. I understand AJ Brown is out, but if Devontae Smith didn't show you something this game, I don't know what we're looking at if we're watching the same game. Jalen Hurts played amazing for everything he had outside of one dumb play in the safety. And outside of that, if you don't think he played good in this game, I don't know if we watched the same gosh darn game. anyways, again, it's tough. It was a historic collapse. We have the guys in place. I'm not worried about it. Like I said, we'll get into it. You guys won't see me getting too mad in today's episode, just because I firmly believe that Fields is, right on it. He's proven that he should be the Eagles' new OC. But like I'm saying, you won't see me get too mad about it. Hurts was that guy. Hurts is still that guy. He played a fairly well game this past week. Again, outside of that safety, he played, I would say, a very good game. He made the throws that were given to him, even though there wasn't many. Even though you have a guy like Dallas Goedert dropping a wide open pass. I mean, I don't know what you can do there. So you won't see me getting too heated about Hurts. You'll see me get heated about the coaching staff. Like I said, at the end of the day, I'm not too worried about it. The Eagles have the players in place. They have a young team. Like I said, 2 out of 3, or 3 out of 5 of their starters on the offensive line, mind you, who all made the Pro Bowl, first stringer alternates. 3 out of 5 of them are still going to be here, and they're under the age of 26 or under. Both of our 2 elite wide receivers are 26 or under. Jalen Hurts is 25. Our defensive line is great. Again, we need a better coaching staff. I would have really, really hoped everyone who's listening to the podcast, I'm a Bobby guy, Bobby Slovic. I absolutely love him. But we need someone in that can run something other than screens in a playoff game when you have the second most efficient passer in all the NFL and deep passes. So again, this team isn't perfect, but they're set up for the future. Again, they've made the playoffs 3 years in a row. I can't be too mad. I mean, playoff again. So,
I was going to give you the floor and everything like that, which is great. You made all the points and stuff that I expected you to make as well, except for.
By the way, guys, I'm going absolute blind. I got a text from Ryan like 2 days ago saying, guys, Ben, be prepared. I'm like, what are you talking about? And he's like, just be prepared.
Emotionally.
So I'm going absolute blind in this. He caught me blindsided. But like I said, you guys won't see me get too heated over this. I firmly believe Hurts is the guy. And if you watch football, I'm going to be frank. If you guys are knower of ball, you'll also know Hurts is that guy. I mean, you just got to watch the game. And if you watch the game and you guys are a ball knower, you guys will know Hurts is the guy. That's why someone like Someone like Kyle is not making an argument against it too, because Kyle is a certified ball knower here. This guy knows ball. That's why he's not making an argument about it. Kyle's my guy.
I gave you 2 different alley-oops and you didn't take it. I'm just going to announce it and then I'll let you have it. Legendary center Jason Kelce is likely to retire at the end of the season. That's the point that I want you to have. If you could just, speak on that a little bit, I will dive into my points and then we can get started with this.
Yeah, no, that one hurts. Again, we've drafted his replacement 2 years in a row. We drafted Landon Dickerson to be that guy, but he played so good at a Pro Bowl level that we drafted Beef Jurgens to take over his spot. So we have the replacement in place. It's not the play that I'm going to miss. It's the guy he's going to miss. I mean, he is the reason that, like, I'm as much as an Eagles fan. I'm into sports as much as I am. 62. I mean, there's so much to say about him, and the game and Sunday is not going to be the same. Like I told you guys, he's my absolute favorite player of all time. I wanted to sit in my room and turn off and sit in the dark and not say anything or talk to anyone once the game was over, and not because they're not because of loss. I said it to you guys right after the loss
because he's a wuss. I'm just kidding.
And it's not because of the loss. It's greatest center of all time. Exactly. I mean, Matt was right on that. It hurts, man. I mean, I loved him, and it's going to be really, really hard to go into next year and not see him play on Sunday. And it was tough. I felt that loss didn't mean I didn't feel anything about that loss because all I could think about is Jason not coming back. Again, one of the best people, one of the best football players, exactly, embodiment of Eagles football. 62 is going to be missed, man. And, I hope he can go and have fun with his 3 girls and live a good life. I think it'll be quick. I think he'll be back here in the organization sometimes here soon.
Yeah, I mean, he wanted to go out on his own terms. I watched the New Heights podcast today, and it's disappointing that the news broke before he could release it. But this has been on the table for a while now.
3 years now. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, it's good that it's finally come to his time. I told you this before. It's almost disappointing that he went out this way, because I would have almost rathered him go out last year instead. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
He had a historic season in terms of going 10-1, but it's not the way that a legendary player should go out.
I mean, you didn't want to lose in the first round of the Buccaneers and Baker Mayfield. I mean, there's no way to sugarcoat it. I mean, it was a tough loss. I mean, would you have rather hoped he won the Super Bowl last year, went out that way? Of course. And if it wasn't for one of the worst calls we've seen in the Super Bowl, it probably would have. But
he played against his brother.
Exactly. I mean, you couldn't ask for a better ending for him last year, but it is what it is. Sad to see him go.
As much as it hurts to lose your favorite player, so does the truth. The truth hurts, man.
Yeah, it does.
So I'm going to be sitting here trying to make my point.
I'll respectfully not even interrupt you. I will let you make your point. I don't even know how much, like I said, guys, and not to cut you off after I said I'd let you make your point. Again, I don't know how much argument there's going to be, because, Hurts is my guy. I know Hurts is the guy, so it doesn't really make me too mad when people, say otherwise. But it'll be fun.
Buddy,
it'll be fun. It'll be interesting.
I'm going to give you a massive forewarning here, okay?
Yeah.
I might, I'm going to lash a little bit. I'm going to bash your team just a little bit.
That's fine.
Decision making.
Eagles fans already have it.
I'm just letting you know. And this first point that I'm just about to make is that the Eagles got just embarrassed, downright embarrassed, considering, this is not the route that you want to go. You want to go to the Super Bowl and everything like that. You had the high expectations going into the season, et cetera, et cetera. This was a stacked team going into the season. On paper, it looked amazing. You could not have been in a better situation. And to be honest, I think that Hurts was in a great situation coming into the league as a starter. I mean, given A.J. Brown I would say top 5 receiver, 50-50 ball. He's amazing. Sure. You just chuck it up to him and he's going to get it. But that's the thing, right? He transforms quarterbacks. A.J. Brown, I'm not going to sit here and say that he carries Hurts, but what I will say is he makes his job relatively easier. Okay. Yeah. Sitting here anybody saying that players can carry a quarterback, I get it, but this is what I'm going to say, right? This is 2 completely different quarterbacks with versus without A.J. Brown. 2019, A.J.'s rookie year, Ryan Tannehill had 3,300 plus, or I'm sorry, 300 plus passing yard games. He had 2,742 yards, 22 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, and with only 12 games played. A.J. Brown played all 16, and the Titans ended up going to 3 playoff games, okay? Stick with me. In 2020, Ryan Tannehill threw for 300 plus passing yard games again with 3,800 yards, 33 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, 16 games played for Tannehill, 14 games played for A.J. Brown. I believe Tannehill was a Pro Bowler that year as well. Absolute stunning season from Tannehill. And the Titans played 1 playoff game. They were shocked in the first round, or the second round. I believe they were the number 1 seed. In 2021, 2 300 plus passing yard games, 3,734 yards, 21 touchdowns, 14 interceptions, 17 games played for Tannehill, 13 games played for A.J. Brown. And then you dive into Tannehill without A.J. Brown. This is the same quarterback in a different situation, but same team. 2022, he played 12 games, 2,500 yards, 13 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. He had 1 300-plus yard game, no playoff berth. In fact, Tannehill was benched for Malik Willis. In 2023, he played in 9 games as a primary backup, essentially, 1,600 yards, 4 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, and he's a backup now. This colossal decline from this quarterback is the absence is felt with A.J. Brown. With Hurts has played 15 games in 2022. This was his historic season. 3,700 yards, 22 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. 2 of those interceptions were against Chicago, by the way, just saying.
I remember 17, that actually. That was
electric.
What a game.
17 games played for A.J. Brown. Super Bowl berth, number 1 seed. 2023, however, both players played 17 games, 3,800 yards for Hurts, 23 touchdowns, 15 interceptions. And there was a playoff berth. However, they were blown out by Tampa Bay essentially because A.J. Brown didn't play. So now this is our one game that we got to see Jalen Hurts perform without A.J. Brown. And yes, let's admit let's talk about the elephant in the room here. Offensive scheme was horrible.
I thought you were talking about James Bradbury.
Well, yeah, he's bad too. But the offensive coordinator, he didn't adjust. I mean, let's just put it plain and simple, right? But throughout this season, you don't just have this locker room guy that, in 2022, everybody was ranting and raving about this guy. This guy was just great. This is Hurts' team, according to Jason Kelce. What happened in the last few weeks of the season? What happened? Hurts declined. That's what happened. Dude had 15 interceptions this year. Now I understand. Offense coordinator was not all that great. But the offensive coordinator didn't throw 15 interceptions. You only threw for 1 more touchdown than you did last year, and you played 2 more games. You threw for 157 more yards, and you played 2 more games. Now, I understand, Hurts was playing injured. Okay, it's another excuse, to be completely honest with you, because Hurts didn't perform to the level that he was performing last year. I can tell you this, as much as everybody wants to sit here and say that Justin Fields is the problem, Hurts has just the same exact issue as what Justin Fields has. And I've sat here and I've showed you this picture and everything as well. I'm going to show everybody as well. Look at this.
Yes.
Now, you've got the best, one of the best 50-50 ball guys on the right-hand side of the screen, right? In A.J. Brown. That's who he's cocking the ball back and tossing it to. Nobody else. Now, what I see, that's hopefully a future offensive coordinator. I see a safety over top, and I see him being tightly guarded by a corner, right? I see Devontae Smith in the middle. There's a linebacker that's being covered up by a raindrop, and then there's also a linebacker or a slot receiver that's not doing a great job covering Devontae either, but you wouldn't throw it there because that's double coverage.
Mm-hmm.
But there is one guy, literally about, 10 feet in front of him, to the left, number 14, Kenneth Gainwell, that can get you a guaranteed 5, 10, 15 yards for sure. There's a lot of green to the left, but that's fine. That's one picture.
Could you pull that picture up real quick, though?
Oh,
that, for some reason, and I haven't, I'll need to watch it. Everyone keeps saying this, by the way. A, there's 53 seconds left in the game. B, like you said, it's the best jump ball wide receivers in the league. But also, if we're counting properly, there's only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 guys that we can see in the screen.
So there's one to the
right. For all we know, there's 2 other guys floating near to the left. So let's not like pictures can be a little deceiving here too, by the way. But anyways, okay. I'll let you.
Well, before the collapse and everything, during this
historic collapse,
during this week they were, by week 13, the Eagles had already had their bye week. Okay, they were going into a big game against the 49ers. Right. Let me bring up this picture here. This is huge miss. You've got now. I can't really. Let me try this really quick. I'm so sorry. I'm going to try to bring up a picture. That way you guys can see my mouse because I feel like it's so much easier to analyze a picture. Okay, I'm so sorry. This picture I'm going to bring up is slightly different, but it's the first play of the game, okay? And for that, that's pretty huge. Like I said, we can blame the offensive coordinator all that you want, but this is huge. Dallas Goedert over here is beating the corner. Hurts is looking right at him. It's wide open. You can throw it here, drop it over top. Hurts has done it before.
Yeah.
Why doesn't he hit him?
He's a good quarterback.
Hurts has done it before, but why doesn't he hit him here? You're playing against one of the best teams in the league. Why do you do this? Do you know what happened in this play?
I do know what happened on this play.
So for those that don't know, DeAndre Swift pulls a whip route. He catches the ball right here, and that turns into this right here. I am so sorry. I keep losing this. I thought I was so confident too. I thought that it was so open. All right. So here's that. So DeAndre Swift gets just murdered right here.
Yeah.
He drops the ball and everything. So instead of getting, what was that, 25, 30, maybe 35-yard gain to Dallas Goedert, you get a missed throw, and instead, you get a check down to DeAndre Swift. So that's fine, right? That's one play.
So do you want him to check down the ball or throw deep when a person is covered? Just wondering.
He's not covered,
out of curiosity, by the way.
He's not covered, though.
Yeah. Pull up the picture. What do you mean he's not covered? Dallas Goedert was absolutely covered.
So,
like I said, I'll let you finish.
It's a tight window, but I've seen Fields make that throw. So why can't Jalen Hurts?
He can.
Fields can't throw the ball. No. Fields can't throw the ball. So Fields can't throw the ball, but he's made that throw before. But Jalen Hurts can't because the checkout's wide open. Why don't you throw it there? So let's take it here, right? Very next play. Or not very next play, but, next drive. I'm not going through the entire game because that's pointless.
Yeah.
What's going on here? So we've got A.J. Brown running along the left-hand side of the screen.
Mm-hmm.
You've got this guy that could be open. You've got this guy, Dallas Goedert, which I'm starting to think messed with Jalen Hurts' mom prior to the game because God knows he's just not wanting to give him the ball. Do you know what happens on this play, Ben?
I also do know what happens on this play. Mind you, also Dallas has been dropping balls this season. And this was his first game back off of injury, too, by the way, for those
Dear Lord.
who don't know Ben, as well. This was his first game back from injury. Dallas, by the way.
Dallas was wide open here calling for the ball. Jalen Hurts scrambles to the right and throws it out of bounds. Okay?
Yeah.
Good quarterbacks don't care if their receivers are dropping the ball. Justin Hurts played last year, didn't he?
Dude, it was his first game back.
Listen to me. So now let's take just a little bit of sample size. And now before I say literally anything, I want to make sure that I acknowledge the fact that it's fair to assume that Hurts can generate a few more yards and touchdowns if A.J. Brown wasn't on this team. They'd be distributed amongst over the players and everything like that. That makes sense. However, Jalen Hurts would not be in the MVP conversation last year if it wasn't for A.J. Brown. 2022 stats. He's got 2,200 yards, 11 touchdowns, 6 interceptions without A.J. Brown in 15 games. Justin Fields, however, with God knows nothing to work with, 2022, he had 237 more yards than Hurts did in the same amount of time with 6 more touchdowns and 5 more interceptions. Hold on. 2023, 2,400 yards without A.J. Brown, 16 touchdowns, 15 interceptions. Okay. With Justin, you've got DJ Moore. And this is with, by the way, Hurts had 17 games. Justin Fields had 2,500 yards. So let's see. Oh, no, I'm sorry. 2,562 yards. So 160 yards. Same amount of touchdowns, except 6 less interceptions in 4 games played, right? So let me just get this straight. So when I say that Justin Fields doesn't have anything to work with, because both of us made it a point that saying DJ Moore and Devontae Smith are about the same exact guy. So if you give Justin Fields and A.J. Brown, what happens? You gain confidence in your top 5 guy that's a 50-50 ball guy. That's, his entire career. He sat here and made a point of. So it's insane. A.J. Brown's great. Don't get me wrong. But if you take away A.J. Brown, you get more results of what you just saw with the Eagles.
You can't just take away 1,500 yards.
Now listen to me. That's fine. It's fair to assume that Hurts can generate a few more yards and touchdowns if A.J. Brown doesn't play for the team. Exactly. I already said that. But here's my point, is that it's not fair to sit here and say that same exact thing about Fields when I've given you photographic points, literal proof saying that this is happening to Hurts. Literally the same exact thing to Hurts. Now, given Fields hasn't gone to a Super Bowl. I understand. Fields hasn't gone to a Super Bowl. He's had 3 years. The first year, He wasn't a starter for majority of it. Matt Nagy didn't play him with the starters at all, and then the team what happened? Just disintegrated right in front of him, right? Darnell Mooney, who finished with under 500 yards on the season, was his number one guy in his sophomore year as a starting quarterback. So we sit here and we can say, yeah, okay, you're making several excuses for Fields. How many times can you sit here and say you're just making excuses for the guy, separate the player from the person, it's time to move on and everything like that, but your guy's doing it for $50 or $50 million more.
Yeah.
I understand your guy was doing it or was playing in the Super Bowl. That's fine. But here's the thing. It's a slippery slope, man. Your offensive coordinator is a head coach in Indianapolis
5 years ago.
Yeah. Your offensive coordinator is a head coach of Indy, and he almost took them to the playoffs. Congratulations. You made that point. That's great. But if you're going to sit here and blame the offensive coordinator, but sit here and have games like this against the 49ers that are a must-win situation because they were 10-1 at this point and they needed to win, but you want to sit here and blame the offensive coordinator, you got to help yourself, man, before you ask for more help. Because it's right there in front of you. Whether the guy doesn't want to catch balls or not, why put him on the field if it's his first game back and he's not going to catch? Clearly, he's had a great week of practice where the head coach feels confident enough to put him on the field. So why can't your quarterback go out here and make the plays? There's only so much film that I have, by the way. Otherwise, I would have done a much deeper dive into this. But the thing is like, I'm not going to sit here and pretend that Jalen Hurts is reading the defense just as well as he did last year. He's not finding errors. He's finding the open receivers and hitting them just as well as he did last year. He's taking the check down just as much as he did last year. He's taking the check down because he's just scared enough to throw it downfield. And if you don't agree with that point, if you don't agree with that point, please tell me why A.J. Brown in the final 6 weeks of the season was asking for the ball more. I'm not just saying it's only Tampa Bay, because that's a small sample size, brother. Mm-hmm. If you go for the entire season, I'm not saying Hurts didn't have a good game against Tampa Bay. I'm not saying Jalen Hurts was the reason why they lost that game. If you want me to tell you why they lost the game, it's because the defense collapsed and played like garbage and the offensive coordinator couldn't adapt to it. That's really it. I'm sorry it happened to you. I'm sorry that that's how it happened. But the point of this is that there was a massive collapse. The locker room collapsed.
Huge.
And A.J. Brown's begging for the ball. There's a reason why there's no Eagle stuff on his Instagram anymore. Yeah. I mean, the dude's frustrated. Why? Why is he
coaching
frustrated?
Staff. He came out and said it. He literally came out 3 weeks ago and said the reason
How many times?
Talking to the
perfectly fine.
He said the reason I am not talking to the media is not because of my team, and is because I'm sick and tired of the coaching staff. Like I mean, he outright said that to the media. So let's not pretend as if he's mad at Fields or now you got me saying that. Let's not pretend like he's mad at Hurts and that Hurts is not getting him the ball. And then question 2, do you want Hurts to come up to the line and change the play? Because we saw it 2 weeks ago.
It's part of his job.
Came up to the line and changed the play, and everyone in the media is talking about how he lost the locker room. So
it's part of his job to call an audible. You read a defense, you call an audible. It's what quarterbacks do. That's exactly what you're supposed to do.
We've seen time and time again this season of quarterbacks trying to call said audibles and then media taking it and saying, like, look at this. This is awful. Why would a quarterback ever do that? So he either doesn't call an audible and gets stuck with that shitty situation and the media is going to call him ass, or he does call an audible and people are going to say, well, look at this. The team is ass. It's a lose-lose situation at that point. Either way, what he would have done would have been called ass by either one. And it's a lose-lose situation for both of those. I don't know what you wanted to do. He was one really shitty play away from winning the Super Bowl and cementing himself in the history of the NFL. So to turn around and say the Eagles don't have a quarterback is an acidine statement.
Did I ever say that they didn't have a quarterback? Because all I remember
you're sure making it sound like it.
They didn't have a good enough quarterback. My main point throughout all of this is that they do not have a good enough quarterback to get where they want to be. And congratulations, you locked him down for long term. You know who you locked down? Dak Prescott. You are going to be mediocre. You're going to make the playoffs. That's great. You're going to make the playoffs. You're going to compete for the regular season year in and year out. But this is not the guy that's going to cross that finish line. And when I tell you earlier on that Fields will be just as good, if not a little bit better in this situation, now you know, because he does the same exact thing Justin Fields does, except maybe he's just a little bit more of a pocket passer. Maybe he's just, maybe he's just a little bit better in that case. But guess what? You got the best offensive line in football, or top 5.
Okay, people keep saying that, but the stats would say otherwise. I mean, he faced the bottom
number 6,
bottom half of the pressures in the league. Let's cool it on that real quick.
Okay,
this is a
bottom
down
6
year
amount
of line.
Bottom 6 amount of sacks allowed this year.
Because Hurts knows how to navigate the pocket because he's a good quarterback. Again, if anything, that's proving my point. He's bottom half of the league when it comes to pressures. Like he got pressured more than what he should have this year, and is still what would you say 5, 6?
So what you're telling me is that Jalen Hurts can't navigate the pocket and pass under pressure? Is that what you're telling me?
What?
Because that's also what a quarterback's supposed to do.
I'm saying he's actually pretty freaking good at it. That's my point. I'm saying
so.
He's
what's
doing
the problem?
This while being in the bottom half of the league when it comes to that kind of stuff.
So what's the problem then?
Nothing. That's what I'm trying to say.
Because my thing is this:
say that he didn't have he didn't have as good of a year last year.
Okay.
I mean, I'm going to absolutely say that. Like, my argument's not that, but
the games that they lost,
you can't come on the podcast and say,
sure, I can.
Isn't the guy. You can't say Hurts isn't the guy and can't take him to where they want to go when just a year ago, not even a year ago at this point, he was playing in the Super Bowl. And like I said, would have won the Super Bowl if it wasn't for one of the worst calls we've seen in Super Bowl history. So to say that he can't be the guy to take you to the promised land is an absolute asinine statement, because if it wasn't one bad reffing call away, we would have. So to say he can't take the team there is actually absolutely mind-boggling to me. They're going to even try to make that statement because he was there last year.
Let me tell you about this slippery slope that my quarterback's on, and it's a confidence slope because game in and game out, you saw the Eagles, right? The way that they are in the last half of the season. 19 points against the 49ers. 13 against the Cowboys, 17 against the Seahawks. Yeah. They won against the Giants. They scored a lot of points against the Giants, but the Giants are bad. They lost to the Cardinals, but they scored 31. Cardinals are bad. It's fine.
Cardinals are bad.
They scored 10 points against the Giants because they sat majority of their starters. Totally understand. They already won the division at that point. It's okay. Or I'm sorry, right? Wait, no, their playoff spot was clinched some way, but
their playoff spot, they were clinched in the 5th seed and didn't. They first played, I think, a quarter and dislocated his finger.
What I'm saying is this, though, is that from a confidence standpoint, he's not throwing it as deep as much as he did last year, and even then, as far as the tush push goes and everything like that, dude, without the tush push, Jalen Hurts is an average.
Okay, let's not act like he can't. The tush push is actually what's going to get me mad. Let's not act like he didn't rush for 13 rushing touchdowns last year without the tush push. All right, just because he does the tush push well doesn't mean he can't be a good rushing quarterback. That statement, I absolutely understand. The tush push, I from an outside perspective, I understand as to why people are frustrated with that, and people's go-to is, Hurts is not doing without guys touching his butt and pushing him. Let's not act like he didn't rush for 13 touchdowns this year and wasn't third in rushing yards. So it's not just that he's pushing in for 1 yard. He finished the year with the third most rushing yards from any quarterback this year, and again, 13 rushing touchdowns last year for the majority of the year when he didn't run the tush push. So let's not act like it is the tush push. That statement did get me going.
I'm gonna tell you right now, though, there's a massive difference in the way that Hurts played last year compared to where he is this year.
Yes.
So what happened?
Offensive scheme. Haven't we just covered that 10 times? Okay, hold on. It is the tush push. Hold on, real quick. Jake, it is the tush push you're saying. So what about the 13 rushing touchdowns he had last year? Out of curiosity, the 13 rushing touchdowns and the 600 yards that he had this year. So let's not act like he can't do it this year. They're just running the better play this year.
Ben, please let me make this point so we can continue. The way that oh my God, I forgot the point now. So we were talking about what happened between now and then. And it's more than just, you're saying that's the scheme and everything. I totally understand. But the way that I literally just told you, you have to help yourself before anything else, before you blame the OC. I didn't watch any other film, but Hurts has got to make that connection. And if he doesn't, let me tell you this, right? The one time that they march downfield and they look like they're going to score in the red zone, why doesn't he throw this ball to Devontae Smith?
I can't even see it. Let me pull it up here real quick. Because there's a linebacker right there. If he throws, he has to lead him. It's not like he just throws the ball right on the dot. He has to lead him at least to the L, and the linebacker is going to back up and get it.
He's done it before. He did this all the time last year. So why isn't he doing it then?
Because he's reading the field, and he doesn't feel confident right now in the game because at that point, Drake Greenlaw has been on his ass.
Dude, he can drop it in there. He's done it before.
And the thing is that he did not play like a top 3 quarterback this year, by the way. I'm not saying
that's my point. That's my point, is that he's regressing, dude. He's regressing.
My point is that he can still take you. Again, as I'm saying, I'm not trying to say he's playing as well as he did last year. Dude. But to say he can't take you to the Super Bowl is wild because we just saw him take him to the Super Bowl.
Bro, I've seen you tweet out multiple times that he's not regressing. I've seen you put it in our
I've
group
never
chat
said he's not regressing. I said it 3 times on this podcast before.
You said you were mocking it as in like, but Hurts is regressing. That's how you put it.
Yes, regressing to the point that people are saying he's ass. Again, he's not playing as good as he did last year. I'm going to absolutely say that. But again,
so that's the definition of regressing.
The point, what?
That's the definition of regression. Is that
I know. I'm saying I'm mocking the people that are saying he can't make it to the Super Bowl. The point that you're trying to make, because he just did make it to the Super Bowl, and on all accounts, every single time that he needed to make, or like he has shown all year that he has been able to make big throws when he needed to. But like I said, he was not put in the position this year to make the big throws. He's made some beautiful throws, especially in that Cowboys game. Like, let's talk about that. He played a great game in that Cowboys game. Again, he had a few turnovers and whatnot. The first one, not the second one. And he made some beautiful, beautiful passes. He had like a 3rd and 30 at one point where he barely got it over people. So again, it's like everything is there. It just needs to be put back together into a better scheme. And that's the point that I'm going to make. Dude, all year. Again, he's the guy. He just needs someone that actually knows how to freaking use him right.
Oh my God. So here's the thing, right? We can sit here and pound the table that Fields is not the guy. Fields is not the guy. Fields is not the guy. We can make excuses A, B, C, D, E, and F about why Fields is still the guy, and this is the reason why he sucks. These are the receivers that he's dealing with. This is the offensive coordinator he's dealing with. We didn't hire an offensive-minded head coach. He's shuffling between offensive systems. It's not doing great. Everything seems so well put together that the one time that it happens to Jalen Hurts, this sweetheart that everybody loves from last year, this MVP candidate that should have won it last year, or whatever it was, because I don't remember who won MVP last year. Like,
Patty,
we can sit here, but God forbid we make an excuse to cover up Jalen Hurts, who's doing literally the same exact thing, except $50 million more. Like, why is this okay? Why is this okay? They're the same exact quarterback, except Fields has better legs. But it's not. But it's Jalen Hurts. But it's Jalen Hurts, and he's been to a Super Bowl. But it's Jalen Hurts, despite the fact that he's got a great supporting cast. He's got one of the. Okay, let me say this just to save me. Top 10 offensive line in football. Right? We can definitely agree on that. Top 10, arguably top 5.
Yeah,
I'd say top 3, maybe number 1. But semantics. Here's the thing: you give him that. You give him AJ Brown. You give him Devontae Smith. You give him Miles Sanders last year. I mean, he's got pieces around him that he should be able to. He's got no excuse not to. You've got a supporting cast that's willing to give him the floor and say, lead us. You've got a defense that's formidable enough to just grow and
I was with you there until you said the defense.
Save a lead for that quarterback. And you've got, and I will say the offensive coordinator is definitely taking a step back. But you've got a coordinator that allows him to blossom. But exactly what Jake says here, he's always been almost good enough, almost there, but he's not quite there. And that's why I related him to Dak Prescott. He's always going to be that guy to where it's like you can win a game with him, but you're not going to win the game. You're not going to see it when the lights shine brightest, because when one guy's out, it's the end of the world for this team. You've got A.J. Brown that's throwing a fit or whatever it is. It's a diva act or whatever you want to say. It doesn't matter. I'm not saying you're saying that. I'm saying the media is saying that, whether it's one way or another. My point is that, we make all these excuses for Jalen Hurts, but I say literally the same exact thing about Justin Fields, a Chicago Bears quarterback, and it's like the most blasphemous take in the world. Like, this guy's the worst quarterback that we've ever seen. What are you talking about? He doesn't know how to throw a football. It's that clearly, if you watch the games, the receivers have been dropping it. Clearly, if you watch the games, he's putting it in the right position. Has he messed up? Has he had a couple bad throws? Yeah, I give you the Commanders game last year. That was disgusting. But has he had great games as well where the receivers hang on to the ball and he looks like a superstar? Yeah, I give you the Steelers game from last year. Like, it's just, I don't understand why there's such a massive bias in the media and with certain fans to where it's like, we can't hate on X, Y, and Z, but this guy's never going to be good enough. God forbid Caleb Williams comes to Chicago, because he's on a pedestal already. You want to sit here and say that, you've got expectation X, Y, and Z, and you fail, we're not going to make any excuses for you. You're gone in 3 years. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. But, okay, here we go. Next question. Is Jalen Hurts elite?
Not this season. He's still a good quarterback. He's still a top tier quarterback. Real quick though, before we get to that,
he's Tua. Again, he's Dak. It's Jalen Hurts.
He's definitely better than Tua. I mean, I don't know what we saw at Tua, but again, I Fields got another year. You guys had the first overall pick, so let's not let's quit acting as if like he didn't get ample time and he didn't get the cushion that he deserved, like Hurts is. So for you to say he's not getting the same cushion,
Byron Pringle
is wild.
You guys had the first overall pick 400 yards. Darnell Mooney.
You guys didn't take him, so let's not say he didn't have the cushion. And I'm going to be honest with you, and I'll be the first one to say it. I had the issue with Caleb Williams versus Justin Fields is Justin Fields is competing for one of the best quarterback prospects we've ever seen. I would better hope the Eagles did their gosh darn homework if they picked number 1 overall. I love Hurts, but that's how good Caleb Williams is, to the point that even if the Eagles had the number 1 overall pick with Hurts, I would darn hope the Eagles did everything in their power to scout that guy and make sure there was the right guy in the building. Again, none of this had to do with Justin Fields. Justin Fields is, I have no issue with Justin Fields. I feel for you guys, because Justin Fields, again, I think he needs to develop more as a passer. And again, let's sit down and watch the difference between Hurts as a passer, Fields as a passer, and not just take 3, screenshots or 4 screenshots from a game and say, look at this, and let's sit down and watch, because there's a clear difference. There's a night and day difference between the two as a passer. But Fields is competing a job against, again, one of the top quarterback prospects we've seen in the last 15 years. One of the top quarterback prospects we've ever seen. I mean, he's right up there, and he's not quite to the same level. But going into the season, we viewed him as a quarterback prospect that was the same as Andrew Luck. So let's not act like, like he's not getting the cushion that he deserves. Because I still know plenty of Bears fans, too, that are saying, let's keep him.
So, where do we go from now if we're the Eagles, right? So, you've got Jalen Hurts that's locked down long-term, right? And let's say we fire the offensive coordinator. That's fine.
We should, and that scares me, actually, real quick. Kind of the rumors right now is that they might just be looking for a new DC. And if we keep Brian Johnson, I might not watch football next year, guys. I'm going to be honest with you. Dude, I don't know if I can stomach it.
Here's the thing, though, right? So, majority of the Eagles' points, right, they had been contributed by the tush push, right? Like it or not. I mean, there's a lot of the tush push that was involved in the offensive game plan for the Eagles, whether it was on the 1 yard line.
Yeah.
It was, but okay, let's say, God forbid, that's gone, right? The offensive coordinator stays, leaves, whatever it is. If Hurts doesn't throw for more than 25, or if he doesn't throw for 25 passing touchdowns again, and the Eagles, squeak out maybe 9-10 wins, are you concerned at all?
If next year comes and Hurts doesn't throw for 350 and 25, I'll step down and tell. I mean, and we'll have to see where the season takes us. Obviously, if he's not fully healthy or he sits out a few games, but he still looks good. Then I'm open to having the conversation a little bit more. But like I said, I have watched the team for 17 weeks, 18 weeks now at this point, including the playoffs, and Hurts is the guy. I have come on this podcast 2 years now at this point and told you guys when the Eagles have been bad, and told you guys when players have been bad. Hurts has played good. Hurts is not the issue. Hurts, again, he's not quite the quarterback that he is this past year. He's still a borderline. This year, he still played like a borderline top 10 quarterback this year. I'm not worried about Hurts. If we come in next year and he looks like trash and he doesn't throw for 25 touchdowns again, scenario, like, don't quote me on that. If he throws for 24 and is sick and sits out a game and stuff happens. But if he doesn't look like a passer, again, I'll come on the podcast and eat crow. I've never been worried about that. I've done that before. But again, Hurts, I believe Hurts is the guy. We've seen Hurts is the guy. Like I said, he took us to the freaking Super Bowl last year. We have the weapons around him, and we have the core pieces on offense. I'm not worried about it. As long as our OC doesn't drop 13 screens in a playoff game and doesn't know how to adjust to zero blitz, I think he'll be just fine. I really think it's going to be just fine.
I will say this one last thing about this before we move on to the amount of stuff that we have, because to be honest with you, 4 games and the rest is going to blow by.
Yeah.
For the Bears fans listening, right, we just had this hour-long conversation about whether or not Hurts is a guy, or if Fields is a guy, or if they're comparable, or if the situations are comparable or not. Here's what I'll say, because I'm part of the group. By the way, I'm part of the group that, Dak Prescott, Tua Tagovailoa, Jalen Hurts, all a part of the same group, right? I will say, whether you agree with it or not, I will say a part of that group until proven otherwise. Here's what I will say. I'm going to stand up for this.
Go for it.
Listen to me. Listen to me.
Do it.
For anybody that wants to keep Fields, do you want to be a part of this group of Tua, Dak, Jalen Hurts? Considering what they've done and what they've been able to do, did they win the Super Bowl last year? No, they didn't. Where's Dak? Hasn't made it there yet. Where's Tua? Hasn't made it past the first round. Or do you want to be generational like Patrick Mahomes is? Now, I understand Patrick Mahomes is a freak of nature. I get it. The one comp that Caleb Williams has is Patrick Mahomes. The one thing that he has going for him is his just everything, really. I mean, he's got to develop a couple key things, but he's got a lot going for him. But here's the thing. Mahomes, as much of a freak he is, once Caleb Williams enters the league, there's going to be 2 Mahomeses. There's going to be a lot of people that are just loving Caleb Williams up and down from this point forward, from rookie year forward. This guy's going to develop and be an absolute superstar. How many 1,000-yard receivers did Patrick Mahomes have this year? Not a single one. Don't even look it up. Not a single one. I already looked it up. Do you know how many passing yards Patrick Mahomes has? That's over 4,000.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Over 4,000. He's a perennial 4,000-yard passer. Let me tell you this. Mahomes has won multiple Super Bowls already. He hasn't even been in the league all that much longer. So which route do you want to go? Let me ask you that again. Do you want to trade back and get 6 first-round picks in the next 3 years? Or do you want, maybe trade for a second because you don't have one this year? You'd be lucky to get a first. You get one, happy about it. If not, whatever. Chicago fans, it's in your hands now. What do you want? So anyways, exactly, Jake. Exactly.
That actually makes me, I'm so happy that you've come around again because there's nothing that you're going to say. There's nothing that Jake is going to say. You guys are firmly in your guys' stances. I'm going to be firmly in mine. Again, that we're going to say that's going to change each other's minds about how Hurts feels until he wins the MVP or until he goes back to the Super Bowl. We're setting that off to the side. Jake, I am now just seeing this. I haven't seen this page, like the StreamYard page, in a little bit. First off, if Caleb Williams is there and the Eagles have number 1 overall pick, I'm absolutely thinking about it. I'm not going to tell you I would either way, but Caleb Williams is that good, and it makes me so happy that you've now come around to that. I mean, Caleb Williams is a generational quarterback prospect. Again, I'm not going to go as far to say that he's going to be Patrick Mahomes because he has his deficiencies. Caleb Williams and his ability to throw when he has a rusher in his face, especially from the D tackle in A gap, concerns me a little bit. But outside of that, there's not many things that like Caleb Williams does wrong. And there'll be the people it's like, he paints his nails. I don't want him on my football team because he paints his nails. Like
he wore a skirt one time for a fashion thing.
He wore a skirt, him off my team. And outside of that, paints his nails, right? Outside of that, it's like there's not much that he does that like I don't like. He is a generational quarterback prospect, and outside of the A and B gap pressure in his face, he does a lot of things very, very well. And it makes me happy that you've come around to it, because if you guys can get there and get the proper OC, hopefully it's not Luke Gutsky, kind of like the Seahawks guy. We'd love to see it. Not a Greg Roman guy. Not here for that at all. But as long as you guys get the right guy, I think Caleb's can really, really develop into something special. And I'm happy that you finally come around to it, because I know there's still a lot of Bears fans that are not quite on that training. But again, like I said, I'd love to see what Fields can do with Caleb Williams can do with a more developed offensive line. Rome Odunze, DJ Moore, and Shane Waldron calling plays. It would be amazing.
Even Brock Bowers.
I'm here for it.
Even if the Bears decide to go full Bills and just say, hey, like, we're going to have 2 good tight ends and have Brock Bowers and Cole Kmet and draft a wide receiver down the line, I'd be cool with Brendan Rice becoming a Bear. That'd be awesome. It's down the line. You get a good guy either way. But the thing is like, you give Caleb Williams an offense. So yeah, you're going places.
It's gonna be fun. The Bears are gonna be fun. I mean, I think that was something that was like lost within like this whole like Hurts.
We're not gonna display that one.
Yeah, we're just not gonna do that. I think that was something that was like lost within the whole Hurts conversation. That if you guys had followed the Twitter page, what was going on. It had nothing to do with the Bears. I think the Bears are going to be just fine. I think you give it 2 or 3 years with the proper development, the Bears could be right there in the playoff mix. I firmly believe that. So I think that was something that got lost within everything that got lost in the shuffle. The Bears are going to be a good team in 2027, 2026. They'll
be a good team next year. I'll stand on it. They'll be a great team next year.
I think they're going to be around 500. I think they're either going to be 1 win below 500, at 500, or right at 500. I think you guys will be a fringe playoff team this year. I think you guys will be fine for a wild card spot.
I hope to God you're wrong. Let's go straight to Pigskin Payout.
They say winning isn't everything, and that may be true in some cases. But right now, let's make some money. It's time for Pigskin Payout.
All right, so I've just taken picks from this whole weekend. We've only got 4 games to work with, but I'm not entirely sure what you've done or what picks you have. But I'm just going to go plain and simple. Over on total points, Texans at Ravens. I love it. I don't know why I didn't put the line. Right now it's 43.5. I think that game's going to be very competitive. Mm-hmm. I think that Texans plus 9.5 is very generous. I like the way this Texans team matches up against the Ravens. I expect them to kind of hang in there a little bit. So yeah, I'm taking Texans plus 9.5 and over on total points. CJ Stroud's going to come in and at least cover the spread. And then over on 48.5 total points, Buccaneers at Lions, and just to sprinkle in a little bit of risk because who doesn't like it? Under on 45.5 total points, Chiefs and Bills, because it's at Buffalo. Wow. You do that parlay plus 1177 odds. I don't hate it. What do you think?
No, I'm a big that last one concerns me a little bit because like that over would have even hit in the Steelers game, Steelers versus Bills. So it scares me a little bit, but I mean I like it, especially the whole Texans part, and whatnot. Golly gee, yeah, I like it. There's one segment I definitely want to go over. here soon with you guys. I might like catch Ryan off surprise. But I'll let Ryan finish his stuff. But I had created a Bears off-season plan for you guys, and I'm absolutely going to forget to not give it to you guys if I don't give it to you guys today, because I just thought of it like right now. Ryan, I knew you were a big fan of it. Again, this is something that's nice and quick for you guys. It's not going to take forever, but it's a matter of if I can even find it for you guys. Because I don't know if I
said it was the Bears offseason? Oh, the
Bears
draft?
offseason plan, the draft and the free agent signings.
Oh, I don't know if I saw the free agent signings.
You didn't see the free agent signings?
I think I saw your draft though.
The free agent signings were definitely in there. Let me see if here it is. All right. So I whipped up like 4 mock drafts. I'll give you guys kind of my favorite one of all the mock drafts. And this is my fix for y'all. I don't think it'll happen just because of the whole Ben Powers stuff. But in terms of, we'll start off with the offseason. What I have for you guys is Jalen Johnson. He's going to get a 4-year, $70 million contract. That's going to put him at $17.5 million per year. We're going to give you guys Justin Madubuike, who now in the season has 13 sacks right now. You're going to be paying a little bit more than what you probably would have liked, but hopefully you guys are going to get that interior pressure. Again, not quite Chris Jones, but everyone's calling this guy baby Aaron Donald. He's going to go for 4 years, $68 million, so that's going to be $17 million. That's the price you're going to pay for the interior defensive position now at this point, especially due to that has 13.5 sacks on the season. We're going to get you guys a partner to go across from Montez Sweat this year because Lord knows everything you guys have tried at this point has not worked. It's been tough. We're going to get you guys Bryce Huff. We're going to get you him for 3 years for $40 million. Those who are not aware of Bryce Huff, he had an absolute breakout year this year. He's kind of been pretty silent over the course of his career, but this season he has 10 sacks, and he plays for a bad Jets team. I'm absolutely sure he could get even more than that on your guys. Again, that would be what?
Did you cut anybody by chance?
Yeah, I cut one person. We'll get to it.
Okay.
Again, for Bryce Huff, you guys can get him for 3 years, $40 million. We're gonna get you guys Kendrick Bjorn, 3 years, $21 million. Get you guys your third guy in that offense. You're gonna get him for 3 years, $21 million, 7 per. And then you guys aren't gonna like it, but we're cutting Nate Davis. It's gonna be a lot of dead cap you guys are gonna eat. But at this point, he needs to be freaking gone. He needs to be gone. You guys are going to cut him, and it's gonna be $13 million of dead cap. It sucks, but it's going to open up $12 million.
Hold on a minute. That's the only move that you made, like cutting wise?
In terms of cutting so far, again, this was something I whipped together in like 10 minutes.
Okay, I was going to say, because cutting Eddie Jackson and cutting Cody Whitehair saves about $22 million, I believe.
Whitehair, I'd be there for Whitehair. Eddie Jackson, you guys aren't in a position that you guys could do that. But hopefully after my draft, you guys can develop someone and get there. I like the Cody Whitehair one as well. But might as well go ahead and throw him in there. How much money did you say that opened up?
About 22.
All right, so you're going to cut him, and you're going to cut Nate Davis. And that's going to open up $36 million of cap space for y'all. With that being said, just that alone leaves you guys with about another $25 million left to spend. About $25 million left to spend in free agency. After signing, again, Jalen Johnson to a 4-year contract, Justin Madubuike to a 4-year contract, Bryce Huff, again, hopefully the dude that gets the job done, aside from Sweat, to a 3-year deal. Kendrick Bjorn, a nice wide receiver 3, someone that's going to come in and produce better than what Mooney did. Sorry, guys. And then in terms of the draft, I'll give you guys, I put together a couple of them. I'll give you guys my favorite one. I had to, as you guys know at this point, Caleb Williams guy. We're going to take him 101. And then at 109, we're going to take Rome Odunze. Oh my gosh, Rome Odunze, DJ Moore, Kendrick Bjorn, he has no reason to not succeed. And the only thing you think to yourself is, wow, the only thing we need to fix on the offense is interior offensive line. Well, guess what? You guys third round pick, I have you guys drafting the best center in the gosh darn draft and Ben Jackson Powers. There you go. Now that's fixed. In terms of safety, again, you mentioned Eddie Jackson. He has not played as well as what we would have hoped. One of my favorite deep in the class safeties, a dude you're going to get, 3rd, 4th, 5th round. Jaden Hicks out of Washington State. The dude's long. He's lengthy. He's probably going to be a little bit more of your box safety than he's going to be an actual deep cover safety. I'm absolutely here for it. If you guys have been listening to the podcast forever, you guys know that's the type of guy I love. If you guys want a comparison, absolutely you don't play the exact one-for-one. The closest guy I can think of compared to last year's class is another dude I absolutely loved in LJ Skinner. And then finally, I had to get you someone that went to OSU on this team. Get you a nice little tight end too, because Lord knows Tonya is not getting it freaking done. Almost cussed there. We're going to get you Cade Stover. So right there, you have your quarterback of the future, hopefully your O-line of the future. Your D-line is stacked because you guys don't have to worry about anyone calling your plays in the middle of the defense because you have two of the best linebackers in the gosh darn league. Your guys' quarterback room's absolutely filling out with Stevenson and Kyler, and then the dude you guys just paid for 4-year contract. The only other situation you need to get figured out is who's playing next to Brisker. Outside of that, your guys' defense is there, and I just drafted you guys a whole bunch of offensive players and signed a nice little wide receiver 3 in the nice little wide receiver 3 in the offseason for you all. Right, just like that, you guys are right back in it. The Bears can do something, man, and that leaves you guys with an extra $25 million in cap to play with. The Bears absolutely can do it. Now,
I don't see why we don't restructure Eddie. That's really it. But
I don't know why my stuff got turned off.
he moved out. his camera knocked off. If you're listening to this on Spotify after the fact, but yes, he will be coming right back to finish off his rebuild. But yeah, this is, completely new to me. I'm not really hating on this at all. I don't know how many Bears fans are listening to us right now, but it is a pretty decent start. I think he's building a playoff team right now for sure. And that schedule next year, I'm not going to put a number on it right now, but I will say that the win total could definitely move up. So very excited about that just because there's a lot of moves that the Bears can make going into this offseason. I'm a big Caleb Williams guy, as you guys know, listening to this, so he can definitely help out. Ben, your camera's still not on. Yeah, wait a minute. Here we go. Wait.
I don't know. I don't know. I logged in. It's saying browser application issue. I don't know what's going on, guys, but still, I'm still here. We're still here talking about ball. Again, what do you think of this offseason I whipped up for you? Just like that. Again, your only issue is who the heck is calling plays and head coach of the team. That's the only guy holding you back at this point.
Yeah, no, it's going to be exciting. I like it either way. I think that there's a lot of moves to be done, and we'll see. Honestly, we'll see how it goes. Let's move right into our last segment of the day real quick, and then we'll get everybody out of here.
You think you know football? Well, prove it. This is Pigskin Pick'em.
All right, our biggest segment of the day. Ben, you had a big week, man. Yeah. I only picked one team correct, and that was the Bills. Yeah. So we'll see if I can have a better week. Texans at Ravens. What are you thinking?
Texans at Ravens. Guys, I'm gonna do it. My team's out. I'm gonna ride with the Texans, not because I believe the Texans can actually get it done, but just because I'm praying that we can see more ball from CJ Stroud. Again, I don't actually think this is gonna happen, but I'm taking the Texans because I think it's gonna be gosh darn fun.
It's gonna be fun, but I'm taking the Ravens just to be safe because I want to be right. But I'm definitely going to be rooting for the Texans. So I'll be wrong if it means the Texans winning, but that's cool.
Yeah.
Packers at 49ers. I think both the underdogs have a fair chance at this, but what do you think?
Guys, it'd be gosh darn fun if the Packers won this one, but I can't. As much as I want to, I can't. The Niners are going to win this one. They're coming off a week of rest. This Cowboys game just felt like it was something that was hitting stride and everything was going perfect, and that's just not going to happen again. As much fun as it would be to see the Packers play, that probably just made you cringe so hard. I'm going with the Niners.
Yeah, I'm going with the Niners as well. You won't see me pick the Packers and root for them at all, ever. So, Buccaneers at Lions. Lions getting another home playoff game and against the team that beat you. I think I know who you're probably going to pick.
Yeah, I mean, well, for the Buccaneers, we really got to worry about them playing in the cold weather. For those who don't know, if you know, you know. I'm not going to explain it. We're so deep into the podcast. If you guys know, you know. Our reporter just said something stupid to the head coach. I'm going Lions.
Oh, this one's tough. I'm gonna go Lions as well. Actually, you know what? No, I'll play shocker. Buccaneers.
Baker's due for a bad one, man.
He is due for a bad one. You're right, but like I don't know, that defense can shut down the Eagles, so I'm gonna say they're gonna be able to shut down the Lions too.
Hey, a lot of defense has been shutting down the Eagles.
Chiefs at Bills. It'd be a very Lions thing to do to lose.
It would be.
But anyways,
it would be.
Chiefs at Bills.
Guys, I'm gonna pick the Bills just because I'm all for the feed the pit thing. For those who don't know what feed the pit thing is, I don't know if you looked into it anymore after I said something to you about it, Ryan. But ever since the Bills started doing their winning streak, someone has been caught in the pit. For those who don't know what that is, the Bills this past offseason, agreed to build this new stadium of theirs and everything. But right now, again, they just broke ground. Right now, it's just a pit in the ground. And obviously, they're not doing construction on it because everything going on with the snow and how cold it is. But the very first the game after the Eagles game, when they started their win streak, someone fell into the pit. And they won. And everyone's like, that's a coincidence. And then it happened again the week after. And everyone's like, we got to start making sacrifices to the pit. So now whenever someone falls into the pit, the Bills are winning. And I have to do it just for the pit, man. We love to see crazy storylines like that. For everyone knows, me and Ryan are both very superstitious sports fans. So we'd love to see something like that. I'm going Bills.
I'm also going Bills, just to round us all out. Ben, any closing statements as we close the episode of the week?
No. I hope I hope Nick Sirianni still gets fired. I guess it's still technically up in the air. It really seems like he's going back. But honestly, I couldn't have asked for better news when I heard that Mike McCarthy was coming back. We love to see it. Bears fans, have a fun off season, man. We'll see. I'll see you guys next week. I'll let Ryan close it out.
Absolutely, yes. So if you guys are new around here, please give us a follow on all of our platforms. Yeah, go for it.
Real quick, I don't know. Again, we talked about it like last time, and maybe Ryan wanted to like hold on to this, but we're going to the Combine again, guys.
Yes. Yeah, we're going to the Combine. Tickets were officially claimed today, so that is brand new news as of today. So follow us on all of our platforms to get
Year 3.
It's going to be awesome. Plenty of content coming your guys' way. Plenty more from last year. I mean, we had some stuff last year, but, we'll see it. Follow us on all of our platforms, Twitter /X, whatever you want to call it, Facebook, TikTok. Our handles are right above us. If you guys need any kind of sports news or takes or anything like that, we'll be posting them there. Guys, let's just send some prayers that this week's going to be better football because I need some more competitive games to watch. Ladies and gentlemen, enjoy your weekend. And we want to give a special thanks to Spotify for Podcasters, Regional Radio Sports Network, Uppercuts Grooming for helping us grow as a podcast. We want to thank our guests from the last couple weeks as well, Kyle Cagliardi and Greg Braggs for coming on and, giving us great conversation as well. But obviously, thank you to everybody that tuned in today and who's going to be listening in the future as well on Spotify. But this has been the Pigskin Project this week, and we'll hear from you guys, and you guys will hear from us next week. We will see you guys later.